Now listen, you dirty Canuck. I want to pay for my golf cart rides, okay? I don't want to take no handouts.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Outlap, here for episode number 3. Now we tried a few new things this week with the audio, so we're all recording our own things, and for the most part, it sounds better than it did before. We've certainly helped with the sort of cutting in, cutting out issues we had in the past, but Cody over here has some crickets. There's a little bit of background noise, but for the most part, we've worked hard to try and get rid of it. I hope it doesn't take away from the enjoyment at all. Now, Slap is back this week. Bit of a surprise, but hey, he came to hang out and we ended up recording the podcast with him. So hopefully we see him around here more often, and he's pretty much become a regular Outlap cast member. So great to have him back. Of course, I'm DriveThrough. I'll be here. Rusty Walrus, CodyHGaming, and Ryder also joining us. The discussion this week is pretty fun. We first talk a little bit about the dangers of Indianapolis and should IndyCar stop racing there? We also start to talk about aerodynamics for close racing. You know, how can we get guys in NASCAR and Formula 1 to still have aerodynamic performance when they're right behind someone? Then, of course, we talk about personal experiences from the past weekend. I went to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for the Sunday double NASCAR action with the Pinty series and the Truck series. CodyHGaming went and camped out at Road America for a full weekend of racing action. Now, another thing to note is, at the time of this recording, we hadn't yet heard an update on the Tyler Dibble story, so we didn't know that it wasn't his fault at all and that he's reinstated in NASCAR, so just keep that in mind. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this episode. One final announcement before we get to the show. We're now on Apple Podcasts, so as well as Spotify and Google and a whole list of podcasting platforms, I've got links in the description box, so if you want to follow and leave a review on there, please do. We'll be happy to see it. And you can take us with you wherever you go. All right, enough of that. Let's get to the show. Episode 3, we do it for Dale, and hopefully in contrast to the 8-man...
Raise hell, praise Dale!
Hopefully in contrast to the 8-man chaos we had last week, we're down to just 5 people.
Thank God.
And really,
well, we
the
had
best
to make
people.
some sacrifices. We murdered some people to please the sun
Started
god.
with Caleb.
Yeah, Caleb was the first to go.
Caleb was first. The sun god was like, "Are you kidding me? You're giving me this as a sacrifice?" Then we sacrificed Ed, and then What If just went with him because he's like, forget it.
I liked him. You shall be missed.
We talked badly of Pocono, and that was the end of it for him.
I kind of low-key like Pocono, but you know.
It's certainly come under fire after the IndyCar race last week.
Well, that's because IndyCar shouldn't be there. It's too fast.
Which is ironic because
I don't think IndyCar should be at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. How about that?
I'm with you on that. I like it.
Ooh, all right. Hot take to start it off.
I think within the next 10 years there will be a fatality, either by a spectator fatality or a driver fatality in the next 10 years. I was there when Scott Dixon had that big flip over in turn 2, and I saw it on the big screen and I thought he was dead.
Oof.
Just the way it hit top down. It just barely missed his head when he hit the safer barrier on the inside wall.
Dude, do you remember?
That place had 300,000 people, and it got quiet. That is the most quiet I've ever heard that many people be. And nobody said anything until they saw him walk away from the wreck, and everybody cheered.
Do you remember Mike Conway is back in the last laps of 2010? I think the year was. He just nailed the fence in turns 3 and 4, and looked like that Kenny Brack accident where the car just disintegrated.
Yeah, it looked like the Robert Wickens' crash at Pocono, where the car just catches a fence post and it just turns like a helicopter blade.
Here, I'll find Mike Conway's.
Was that the one where he went like over someone?
I think he went over Ryan Hunter-Ray. Ryan Hunter-Ray is like the Ryan Newman of IndyCar. He like always has a car like on top or like upside down over him.
He's just a disaster magnet.
So you think they should stop racing at Indy?
Yeah. I mean, somebody's gonna die there.
But how can you? But like, how? The question is, how do you do that? It's the birthplace of IndyCar,
yeah, you
the
can't
Indianapolis
just
500.
stop.
Like, how do you just be like, nah, can't do that anymore?
I think they got to invest on the safety. I don't think they're going to stop racing. They just got to invest in
That's what I'm
fixing
saying.
Well, they
the-
are. They're the new.
I mean, if you want to make it like completely safe, they're gonna have to drive around at like 180 miles an hour.
The new like Halo windscreen thing they got coming out is super good for the drivers.
Yeah, that'll certainly help. Especially if you can keep heads off of fences.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. It's basically like a miniature roll cage.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. So it's no longer open cockpit racing. So we've basically thrown the hallmark of American open wheel racing under the bus to just protect driver safety. Like they had for a while, they had back bumpers on the DW12 cars. Now we got like a Halo roll cage thing going on, and they'll probably have windscreens. They'll probably be like totally enclosed here in the next 20 years.
But you kind of have to, right?
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
I mean, when the speed goes up, you gotta
I'm
be more,
not saying it's a
gotta be
bad thing.
safer.
I'm just saying like we've tossed everything else about the original formula out. You know, why not toss out the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? But I mean,
That's fair,
if it works out and everything like is fine, then it's, you know, nobody's dying anymore. Nobody's getting their head crushed by flying debris. Maybe keep it in, but unless something drastically changes, I don't think a Halo is going to really stop a 225 mile an hour impact from killing somebody.
When is the last time someone died at IMS?
Tony
2003?
Tony Renna.
Yeah. Was that
during
2003,
testing.
2001?
Yeah, that was 2003, I think.
Yeah.
It's been a while. It's not like a
Apparently, from what
pressing
I read, that was not ever caught on tape. But people said that the way that it hit the catch fence is it basically speared through it. It missed the fence post, and the whole body like speared through it. And had there been people at the track that day, since it was a practice session, it probably would have killed at least a dozen people. Just the way that it hit.
Jeez.
I heard that there was footage of it, but given the severity of the accident, they immediately like closed off the area, confiscated any footage, any cameras, whatever. And yeah, I heard the thing went airborne going into 3 and just went right through the fence and basically just like disintegrated into the support structures, like holding up the grandstands.
I had read that it took out some seats and they had to like replace the seats before race day. But I mean,
So why don't they just make the walls taller and thicker?
Take away vantage
I mean, that's
super
just the way
expensive.
I like my women right there. But in all seriousness, though, like, yeah, that's probably the best way to do it is just make the walls like 3 times as tall
Like,
and make the catch fences
Look
Like
at
Knoxville.
look at
smaller.
Knoxville. Exactly. Knoxville, they just stack more guardrails up and have huge fences.
But at a
Yeah.
professional huge track where you're gonna have to add like 60
that'll
or
be
70%
expensive.
more safer barrier, yeah, it's a little bit easier said than done financially
Well,
for
I mean, you know what else is expensive?
that's-
People dying at your racetrack.
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
true.
but I feel like it's not really pressing enough for them to spend all the money to go and replace all the walls.
Oh, of course not. Somebody has to die first.
Yeah,
That's how it
yeah,
always goes.
exactly. And that's kind of the scary part.
So who's going to be the martyr? That's what it really comes down to.
This is a sad podcast.
It really, yeah. Let's
Wow.
talk about something happy. Did you know that Pierre Gasly got fired? That makes me happy.
And deserved every bit of it. Oh, actually, the new F1 car like the regulation concept images came out.
They did a wind tunnel test of a scale model of it. It makes me happy.
They did.
Rather than lose 50% of the downforce from trailing a car, now you lose anywhere from 5 to 10%, I think. And that's amazing.
I'm gonna throw some.
I mean, NASCAR, take note.
Yeah, for real.
Fine.
I'm kind of surprised like NASCAR didn't like figure that out on their own. Like there is a way to make a body where it doesn't create so much turbulence behind it.
I find it really interesting while he looks for what he's looking for.
There, I got
that
it.
when
There's the
NASCAR
images.
developed the car of tomorrow, they were like, "How do we make the cars handle really great? You know, the truck series is really cool, so let's just make the sides flat." And that didn't do jackass shit.
Just race the trucks.
For real. Trucks are great. They always put on a good show.
I felt like the cars were always better when they didn't like the car of tomorrow. If you ever looked at like a die cast, like the whole body is like skewed out so that the tail is angled out to the right so it catches more air.
Yeah.
I felt like the cars were better when they were just lined straight up.
Because it was until 2006 was when they started like hanging the tail to the right side, and it still is on the every car since then.
Yeah, it was on the COT. It was kind of like winged out a little bit, but then in the Gen 6, if you ever looked at a Gen 6 die cast, like they took the whole left side of the rear quarter panel and angled that out, and then the right rear quarter panel is just kind of like straightened out, so the whole like rear spoiler is just angled out to the right, so that way when you go through a turn, that whole rear spoiler is just kind of winged out to the right a little bit, so it catches more air.
So you think that's bad?
I mean, it's bad for the guy behind you, because I just feel like we didn't have this problem when the bodies were just lined up and straightened up and they weren't winged out to the right, so they caught more air. And I think it just makes it more turbulent behind it. Obviously, I'm not an aerodynamics engineer or anything, but that's just my theory.
Yeah. But the trucks have that too. The kick out to the right.
Yeah, well, the trucks are slower. I mean, the trucks were basically the test bed of the current aero package. Like running almost flat out, these kind of like pseudo pack racing.
All right, let's get back to this 2021 F1 car. That's where you start with aero.
So do you remember when ground effect was super illegal in F1? I think it's really funny that now they've incorporated it into the design. It's crazy how that becomes like a cyclical thing. Like, no, we're not doing it. Actually, it makes the racing better. So let's add some ground effect.
Is it ground effect?
It's like that for everything.
Yeah,
in
that
F1,
the pictures on the back of that car, those are Venturi tunnels.
Oh, but it's not like a skirt on the ground like it was in the 80s.
It still creates ground effect. Like the bottom of the floor of the car is designed to make a ground effect feel to it, which is why the side pods kind of have that skirt underneath of this.
Right, and it like points downwards rather than being horizontal.
Yeah, they really are going for...
I think F1 cars should have 1 foot of clearance between the bottom of the car and the track.
What are these wheel things?
They're wheel covers.
Why? They're not covers. They're just like a little.
Oh, you mean
thing
the
on top.
little wing things on top?
Yeah.
It's to smooth the air travel over the back of the car, because there's turbulent air that comes off the nose and off the wings, and that smooths it out because the wheels create a whole bunch of really crazy turbulent air. So when you mix it with the air coming over the wing, it just keeps it smooth.
It's gonna be interesting.
I'm really interested
that's
in how
what
these...
I'm talking about right there. Just make it less turbulent.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how the wheel covers are going to work.
So what's
Like, are they
going
to be attached to the wheel? So when the wheels are open, without those covers on them, they're essentially just pockets.
Oh, right.
That
So
air
it's
gets
just
stuck in and just like creates again more turbulent air. So it's to streamline the airflow over the car.
this is pretty cool.
Yeah, the year where Braun GP
2009 they had
their
them.
breakout season, they had those like wheel covers. They had a word for it, like a wheel skiff or something like that.
And they were,
Yeah.
it was illegal, right? But they found a way around it. They couldn't have a thing that covered the whole wheel. So they had something that covered almost the entire wheel, and there was just like a little slice cut out of it. And it was interesting. Like the front ones didn't turn, but the back ones did. Let me find a picture of it. Yeah, here.
I got it. I got one too.
They just chopped like a little piece out of it,
Yeah.
and then it was legal.
Put it on the track.
Yeah, it looked just like that.
I'm interested to see if the wheels. So since Pirelli is doing the tires, I don't know if they're doing the wheel covers too, or if that's like something the teams are going to have to put on the tires. How they're going to take tires off, and if it's all going to be incorporated into one bit. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
It'll be on the wheel, so I mean, it looks like they spin just based off of this
Well,
rolling wind tunnel
atta-
thing. So it's not like the original Braun one. So it'll just be on the wheel, right?
Yeah, you'd think it would just be like a
Base
like
of the rim.
Yeah, like a mud cap, like how dirt cars have.
Back in the 1990s, people thought that's what a F1 car would look like in 2020.
Yeah, that's what I think is kind of cool about it. You know, it
Like, it looks like one of those cars out of, like, Batman Beyond or some
Yeah.
shit.
and not like, you know, the 2016 cars where they're just kind of weird. This is sleek. I love the low nose.
Same. I love this.
Yeah, I didn't like the droop snoot that they had in some of these cars. I always hated that.
The
I
tusk.
really dig the genuine simplicity of it. It's not anything wild. Like, there's not going to be a lot of crazy floor designs, a lot of crazy barge boards. It's not going to be a lot of any of this crazy stuff. And I really,
Yeah, it's not like in 2007, 2008,
really just
where it
like
seemed
it.
like they had, like, 5,000 wings
Oh my
jutting out of
God.
the body.
The 2008 Honda with they called them the Dumbo wings. They had these two, like, on the tip of the nose. Here, I'll put a photo up of it. These things were just like flopping out of the nose, and it looks like fungus growing out of a dead animal.
I think I saw a McLaren from like 2008
McLaren had
or
those too.
2007 that had like 6 or 7 wings on each side of the car, just on the body alone. Or maybe it was the Renault.
No, it was McLaren.
But it just
McLaren had that.
it must have had a dozen wings
Yep.
from nose to tail.
McLaren also had that
this
floating
is-
front wing that went like over the nose.
This
Yeah,
is
that thing with a shark jaw on the front.
this is Ferrari's floor from last year. Look at how ridiculously designed all of the extra barge board stuff is.
Yeah.
Like none of that's going to be incorporated. It's not going to be anything like that. And
It's going to look like the 2009 season, honestly.
I
when
think
they cleaned everything up.
Yeah, I think what this could do is I think it's gonna be a rough first year. Everybody trying to figure it out, but I think the year after it's gonna be even better. But the first year, I can see teams being closer together just by the overall simplicity of the car. There's not a whole lot you can do to get a huge technical advantage. It looks like you can't add all those extra winglets and the whatever you want to do to it, add all the floor stuff. You can't get crazy with the tail design, and I think it's going to bring teams closer together just because there's a lot less to do.
Yeah.
I think that first year you're going to see some surprise winners, just like some people who take a random chance or random swing, roll of the dice and figure something out before everybody else does. Kind of like what Joe Gibbs did with the aero package in NASCAR today. Like, they took a big swing at it and they guessed right, and Stuart Haas guessed wrong, and that's why the Haas has been so bad in NASCAR that first half of the season. They've kind of figured it out now, though.
I seriously think it's going to be like 2009. I mean, exactly as you described, someone can just do something weird and get it right, like Ross Braun did. He took a team from the back to the front with the double diffuser.
I think the cars are going to drive differently too, fundamentally, and that's going to be a change for a lot of these drivers.
Good.
I'm hoping
Good. Throw them some curveballs.
that
Getting
Lewis
tired
Hamilton
of watching
goes.
Lewis Hamilton fucking win
Well,
everything.
I'm hoping he does the Jimmy Johnson trajectory where his career just kind of falls off a cliff after the rule change.
well, he had a bad 2009, but he picked it up afterwards. That McLaren did kind of suck in general. I don't know. Hopefully it mixes things up. Although Mercedes have said like they're already working on their next year's car, so I expect them to be.
Yeah, next year's going to be a
Kind of
weird
ahead
year
of the
because
game.
everybody's going to be like, "Oh, we're getting ready for 2021. Here's our 2020 car, whatever." So next year's going to be an interesting year.
I wonder if Williams will get their situation figured out by the time we get to 2021.
I hope so. It seems, big asterisk on this statement, it seems Like, they're finally removing their heads from their asses.
Yeah, but
They're
they didn't fire
about-
Claire.
They're about 12 races too late, but the car's finally coming around. And I've read some articles like George Russell's going to be there for the next 3 years.
What?
Yeah, he signed a 3-year deal, and he's going to be there. He doesn't see any reason why he would get called up to Mercedes before then. But he says that he's committed to Williams while he's there, and that he said the car is getting better. But again, they're still haven't scored any points except for
They haven't been out of Q.
ones that were handed to them.
They haven't been out of Q1.
They almost got out of Q1.
Almost.
They almost
Yeah,
did.
okay. He qualified ahead of, what, 3 other cars for once? 3 cars that weren't Williams?
Hey, he finished 16th that race, I think. Something like that.
He started 16th.
Oh, well, whatever. But they're making progress. I think that the new rules will help them a lot too. They also need to fire Claire, as much as I like Claire, or they need to move her to a role where she doesn't make a whole lot of decisions as far as the car goes.
Yeah.
Maybe something administrative or something like that. But
Sexism.
it's that's why I feel so bad about bringing
I know,
it up.
yeah, I know,
They need to get rid of Claire because they're like, oh, she's the only female vice principal or whatever her role is, and I just like, but she's not good at it.
Yeah, she's not done well.
So I don't know. I hope, or like maybe get a co-principal that can help her. I don't know. I want Williams to do better. After I watched the documentary, I became a Williams fan, and I just
That documentary made me sad because I watched it just
It
knowing where they are
does.
now, and it's like,
yeah, it really like breaks your heart. But you see where they come from, and you see how great of an innovator Frank was,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you hear his story, and it's just like you just want them to be better, at least competing in the midfield. I mean, I would love to see them win races again, but let's be real, that's not going to happen at least in the next 2 years.
I can't remember the last time I've seen a team drop off so hard. You know, from being in position to get podiums consistently and sometimes even like almost win races in 2015 to like being okay in 2016 and getting one podium in 2017 and now 2 years later back in the pack every week.
It's sad.
But they finish
It really is.
races. Better than Romain Grosjean, who has now DNF'd half of all the races this season.
I can't believe he still has a ride. Like I was in New York City, and my buddy up there, he was like a big F1 fan. He's like, "Hey, you want to watch the British Grand Prix?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then I see Romain Grosjean in that race. I'm like, "That motherfucker's still racing?" I thought he'd like drop down to Formula E or something.
I think he will soon. He's kind of a core part of that Haas team because he's been in it since they first started in F1. It'll be weird to see them without him, but
It's either him or Magnussen has to go because there's some serious strife between those two.
well, they're both very aggressive drivers. We've seen them both cause stupid crashes before.
And wreck each other.
Yeah.
I'd bench you if you wrecked each other. I'd be benching both of you.
Yeah, but who do you put in?
Anybody else. You got to prove
Robbie
a point.
Gordon.
Robbie Gordon.
Robbie Gordon.
Can't race the Australian Grand Prix. Anyways,
Yeah. Anyway, so let's move on. So NASCAR stuff. So we'll move from circuits to a NASCAR race on a circuit. CTMP weekend started out strange with Tyler Dipple getting suspended indefinitely for conduct detrimental to stock car racing.
yeah, what a weird call.
So
They got the confirmation later. He was pulled over for speeding.
yeah, he was pulled over for speed. All right, so I put the article in here. Let me pull this up.
Oh yeah, all right.
He was pulled over for speeding, and he and the guy he was riding with gave different stories. So they asked to search his car. He gave consent. They found a backpack with amphetamine and dextroamphetamine in a pill bottle with somebody else's name on it inside of a backpack. They're the drugs most commonly found in Adderall. So they charged him with criminal possession of a controlled substance. And he was arrested and then indefinitely suspended.
Yeah.
This also apparently he was also arrested in Virginia for reckless driving this year. So
It's kind of sad. I mean, he's a kid with his career in front of him, and now it's
I mean, you do it to yourself. So
Yeah.
like I really can't feel bad for you because you did it to yourself. But we had our own drive-through. Was at CTMP this weekend. Turn 5. Got to see.
well, not just turn 5.
Well, you started at turn 5. and you got to see Gilliland just like eat the tire barricade
Dude, that was
like a dink.
That's a great experience. I'm if I have the opportunity to go, I will never say no to CTMP. And I've seen the last 3 truck races, the last 5 or 6 Pinty's races there. Always a good show. The Pinty's race. All right, I talked about this on the show last week. If you're not watching Pinty's right now, you're straight up missing out. If you live in the US, you can live stream it and watch the races free on fanschoice.tv, and it's been amazing. Riverside last week, the leader gets pushed out of the way, he gets the other guy back, wins the race, bump and run, no one gets spun, we're all happy. CTMP comes around, Tagliani leaves a little bit of space in the bottom in the very last turn. Lacrosse sends it up the inside, gives him a little bump, gets him loose, passes him in the last corner. It's hype. It's classic CTMP. You love to see it. It like then they started bumping into each other after the race too. But it's such a great show, just week after week.
You and Rusty need to work with NASCAR to get trademarked Pinty's and Truck Series shirts, respectively, for your 2 catchphrases. If you're not watching trucks, what are you watching? Then if you're not watching Pinty's, you're missing out.
Seriously,
those need to be shirts.
It's so good.
I had to miss the CTMP Pinty's race because I was at work, but I was really jealous that it was really good.
Did you guys
I
watch
have
it?
it pulled up on YouTube. I still need to watch it.
I saw
Rusty
that final
watched it.
lap.
Yeah, I caught
was
the
a
last
classic.
like 15, 20 laps or so.
Oh man, those were good. Oh,
Those cars are just the way I don't even know what I'm looking at. But just the way those cars look when they're like sliding, kind of like just getting on the gas. It just looks so gorgeous, and I'm just in love every time I'm fortunate to like catch that thing live. I love it.
That's possibly a preview of Naco Season 2. Wink, wink.
I love the way the Pinty's cars work and look.
Yeah.
Because they're just like compact stock cars. They probably handle as such, and
and these guys stay like bumper to bumper through the entire lap. Like they are right on each other.
they're probably much cheaper to build and field than actual cup cars.
Well, yeah, they gotta be.
Obviously.
Like, what's the difference between the Pinty's cars and like the NASCAR Mexico and the NASCAR Euro cars? Because they kind of look the same.
The Mexico ones are definitely different. Those are thinner, and I think they have less power. The Pinty's ones,
Yeah, I think they have shorter wheelbases too.
yeah, they're tiny.
Now that I think about it.
Whoa, these cars are weird looking.
Yeah, they're like squished. It's like
Hold on, I'm gonna put a picture of all 3 of them in here.
they're really squished.
So the first one I put was Pinty's.
Love 'em.
This is Mexican NASCAR.
Yeah.
And then what was the year? It was
Euro.
that Hendrick font. Oh, it is.
The looks like the Euro cars are like fat boys.
They're a lot like the Pinty's cars, and
There's some
I
fat
think
bottom
they
girls.
made an
though.
announcement recently
They're
where
wide.
they were gonna have common chassis between the Pinty's cars and the Euro cars. So
I had heard a rumor, just a rumor from a few people, like nobody big, but that the NASCAR Euro, Pinty's, Mexico, ARCA, K&N, and Xfinity would basically all run the same body type, like an interchangeable car.
Oh, I actually like that.
which would be great. I would love to see that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, especially if we could have like some big ass like international all-star race at the end of the year.
That'd be sweet.
Like the top 3 points finishers in all of those divisions, like just race it out at, Irwindale Speedway or something. That'd be badass.
So, do Pinty's cars run on 1.5 miles, at all, or is it just like miles and short?
The
and
longest
road
track
courses?
they run is New Hampshire. Well, the longest oval track,
Because like
and that race sucks.
All-Star Weekend for NASCAR could beat All-Stars from all over the place.
That'd be cool.
Using the-
But like, I mean, you're gonna fly a Euro team over to North Carolina.
I mean, if the body and the chassis are interchangeable, you could just borrow a Euro or borrow a smaller
Yeah,
class car
exactly. That'd be cool.
and throw them on the Lowe's Motor Speedway, or better yet, the dirt track at Lowe's Motor Speedway, which I still think is one of the worst names in tracking.
Yeah. But I mean, dead ass though. I think they should move the actual Cup All-Star race to the dirt track.
That would be sweet, actually.
Do it.
And you qualify by taking your quarter mile time at ZMAX Dragway right next door.
That'd be cool.
I'm serious. I'm dead ass serious. Also, the Open to qualify into the All-Star race is held at the quarter mile track on Charlotte Motor Speedway, the paved one.
Oh, the tiny
the
one.
Legends track?
Yeah. Is that a Mazda sticker on a Toyota?
Looks like it.
Wow. And a Ford.
With a Ford
What?
stick.
Hold on.
That's a Mexican NASCAR
Yeah.
car.
So I'm assuming it's a Toyota body with a Ford engine sponsored by a Mazda dealership? That's
Sure.
all sorts of chaos going on in the front of that. Anyways.
And that is a Mexican bootleg car right there.
So Pinty's happened. It was great. And then during lunch break, we were on the front stretch for the Pinty's race. We walked all the way down to turn 5, just because I've been there. I've been sort of on the outside of 4, but I've never been in that area on the outside of turn 5 before, and it is picturesque, like beautiful. I put a photo up on Twitter. Let me find this.
That elevation change, man. It's just
It's such a great spot to watch the race because you can see them come all the way down turn 4, like on the edge, and you can just see over the hill. It's really hard because it's such a steep turn, but it's got a big enough hill behind it where if you go far back enough, you can like look down into the turn. They've got the steep uphill, the first right-hander, and then the little straight in between, and then the second right-hander, and then you can see and like hear them just accelerate up through the hills and into the distance. And it was an action spot. Like, we decided we'll watch the start of the race here, and then halfway through go on to the front stretch and see the finish there, which was like the best way to watch the race. I feel like a CTMP professional at this point because we got to see all of it. I mean, the action at the start, turn 5, what a great passing zone. Rafael Lessard dropped it in 4, did a 360 on the grass and kept it rolling. What a Chad. Got a top 10 out of it too. Todd Gilliland biffed it. This time his teammate didn't dump him. He just hit the wall on his own.
He straight up just drove into that turn and was just like,
it.
I can't turn.
He just fully missed the turn. Just went right into the wall. And then, dude, I gotta say, the CTMP courtesy shuttle service, fantastic. It's so great. Literally, it was like partway through stage 2. We get up, we walk like a minute over, hop on a golf cart. 5 minutes later, we're like sitting on the front stretch watching the race again.
Wait, do they just offer public golf cart rides?
Yeah.
That's sweet.
And dude, they have like in the paddock area.
Socialism.
There's a station, like fully a station, and there's like 5 different, like not real platforms, but 5 different slots where one of them's like, hey, this will take you to turn 3. This will take you to the camping area outside turn 8. This is going to take you to turn 5. And you just get in line, and some dude pulls up, and you hop on, and he takes you there.
Now listen, you dirty Canuck. I want to pay for my golf cart rides, okay? I don't want to take no handouts.
They have something similar at Road America. They got like a free shuttle that goes around and has different stops.
And it was great.
It's something similar at Bristol too.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a thing that most tracks have, but I feel like a lot of people don't know about it. And it was really empty. Like there were carts coming and going, and there was never really any wait at all. It was fantastic.
Well, now the cat's out of the bag, so now it's fucked up for everybody.
Oh, sorry.
Way to go. You ruined it for everyone. Everyone knows now.
I think you're giving me too much credit, and nobody watches this show anyways.
We already got like 200 views, man.
Did you get to walk the track this time?
No, because we didn't go camping this year, which is really unfortunate. Because, dude, camping at CTMP is just the best experience. And we did it last year, and it went pretty crazy for those 3 days. Unfortunately, the people I did it with are all out of town now, which sucks.
Bummer.
But we still got to see the finish. It wasn't a CTMP classic, but it was still a great race. Like just outside the top 5, there were 4 or 5 trucks just all wadded up together. Great battles. And Brett Moffitt did a hell of a burnout. We haven't seen something that great at CTMP for a little while.
It's the mustache, man. That's what does
Dude,
it.
he went from turn 10 all the way up to the bridge, turned it around, and went back to the start-finish line. Great show. Love to see it. Alex Tagg got second place, just barely.
Yeah, so everybody was like, "Oh, this race wasn't that good this year." But the problem that I have with their problems is that it was a good race. Like, just because Moffitt dominated the race and went on to win by quite a bit of a margin. The rest of the racing all over the track was great.
Yep,
People racing for position. The second place was great.
That gaggle that Ross Chastain and all those other dudes were in was like really fun to watch. That last 10 laps.
And Creed. That was great. And I feel like if they had had a late caution, then you would probably get the chaos again. But Moffitt was just too good. I mean, you saw in stage 1, he was so far ahead of everyone else, especially after Gillen
put himself in. He had like a 10-second lead at one point.
Yeah. Yep.
And
and I think he only like didn't add to that lead because his crew chief told him, was like, "Hey, you're so far ahead, just take it easy, don't make any mistakes," and he just kind of backed off.
Yeah, and he had lapped a good amount of the field at a road course. That's hard to do.
A fairly long road course too.
Well, it ain't no Road America, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's not 4 miles long.
Still a great show. I'll always go back, and I have nothing bad to say.
I mean, I tell you what, after like all the great races I've seen from there, like from the first race to this race, like it's on my bucket list now. Like I got to go out there and watch a race before NASCAR realizes it's too much of a good idea and then drops it from the schedule.
2020.
Bring more series, Xfinity, or just Cup at CTMP. Make it happen. Everybody would like
it should.
Seriously, or Stadium Super Trucks. Hey.
I mean, just for the last 2 turns alone, like how many awesome races have we seen come down to those last 2 turns?
It's such a great section because,
like that left-right flick has just caused so much chaos and just awesome racing that there has to be a Cup race there at some point, someday.
It's such a great section because you come off the long straightaway full speed. You've got the pretty wide right-hander, and then you go left-right. And if you take the racing line, like, you leave a bunch of space to the right side of you in the final turn, and someone, if they want to, can just send it in the bottom.
And then pit you against the wall.
Yeah, like Chase Elliott.
Noah Gregson.
And John Hunter Nemechek.
Yeah.
When it doesn't work, just keep turning left until you put him in the wall.
And win the race. He did what he had to do to win. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, I should have done that," but like, homeboy went for the win. Did what he had to do.
Yeah, he's a doofus.
But yeah, he just pinned Cole Custer up against the wall. It's like, nope, can't pass me now.
I respect it.
That was probably the only one I didn't care about out of all those other ones. Like Noah just biffed it, but I thought the Nemechek one was like over the top.
Well, the Cindric one was pretty bad too, but that wasn't at that turn. That was at turn 5.
So Gregson took out his teammate, didn't it?
Yeah. Todd on his way to his first win, and Gregson is like,
just
wait.
Jumped him.
And then he didn't win anyways. Justin Haley took it.
Ridiculous.
Being gifted wins left, right, and center.
Haley, baby.
Justin Haley might be the luckiest driver of all time.
Yeah, a couple weeks later.
He was driving number 77. 2 times lucky right there.
You know it. Best number.
That's my grandpa's number.
So while I'm here watching the truck race action at CTMP, I was only there for Sunday. Cody, you had your first racetrack camping experience at Road America. How was that?
Road America.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was everything I expected and more. We camped in the carousel. Got there early Thursday morning. No, I should say like early afternoon. Got the campsite set up pretty quickly, and yeah, basically all throughout the weekend there was practice, testing, qualifying, and obviously races going on for 4 different series. NASCAR Xfinity, Stadium Super Trucks. Then they had these like SCCA Trans Am sports cars, and then some like American F3 series. So that was interesting. My personal favorite was probably the stadium trucks. If you haven't
yeah.
seen those in
Dude.
person,
Yeah.
They are on my
gotta.
bucket list. to
I'm
see.
jealous. You got 3 races out of that too.
yeah, and we watched each one from like kind of a different perspective.
That's what's
Actually,
like
no, the first.
the best about road courses is you can just go wherever and see all sorts of different stuff on the track.
Yeah, the last 2 times I'd been at Road America, we kind of just mainly hung out in turn 5, which is like the popular turn.
Yeah.
And since we were camping like the whole weekend, we basically made an effort to like see every bit of the track, like while some sort of on-track action was going on.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I basically have footage of cars like in all 14 turns. But yeah,
So,
those stadium trucks. I think this is the final lap of the second or third race. You gotta,
Let me pop this open.
This 3 wide nonsense. Oh my god.
dude. This is
I
coming
love
out
it.
of the kink into Canada corner. That's literally the fastest spot of the track, and Matty Brabham is all the way in the grass.
He fully just drives into the grass to get there.
I mean,
he
they are
eventually-
off-road trucks,
Oh
so
my
why not?
god! And they're just all squeezing each other, bumping tires.
And Jeff Hoffman, I think, in that Continental truck almost flips
Yeah, he goes up
taking
on
that
the
right-hand
rolls.
turn in Canada
This
corner.
is- oh man. So did
Like I said,
they
this-
run the full track that week?
Each race was a different thing. The first race, they ran the full circuit 4 laps, which kind of caught us off guard because me and my buddy were stationed right in this. Last year they ran. If you look at a Road America map, they basically shortcutted from turn 5, and then like cut through the course, and then went to turn 13, and then rounded through turn 14 and back up the front stretch. And in that spot where they cut the course, they had like these little tire chicanes and then a jump. So I thought they were going to be doing that again, but the first race, they ended up just running the full circuit, so they just turned left in turn 5 to go up to turn 6. But the second race, they actually did what I thought they were going to do, and yeah, did the one where they cut from turn 5 to turn 13 and then did that configuration. And then the final race, the third race, they did the first 4 laps with that configuration. And the last 4 laps, they ran the full course. And then that's when me and my buddy were back at the carousel, so we got to watch from that point of view. So we got to see the Stadium Super Truck races from the from turn 5 perspective, from the carousel, and we also got to see some testing and practice going on the front stretch with those huge jumps they got going up those hills.
What's crazy about these super trucks is with a track like Road America with the long straights is these things actually do draft. So
Dude, it's insane. The draft is like oddly significant with these things. You wouldn't think it is.
and they just draft off each other like crazy. Like I bet there's quite a few passes on that long straight.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I wanted to be in the carousel on purpose for that last race because it's like, if they're running the full course, these things constantly turning right with how top heavy and like springy those things are. One of them's gonna tip over, but they all made it, I think, without incident, like for every single race. I didn't think there's any major crashes for any one of the races. These guys are very professional drivers.
It looks like
I
so
wanna-
much fun. Like
It really does.
it just looks like so much fun.
I wanted to see Sheldon Creed race in those, but he was busy up north of the border for the truck races in Canada.
Does he run that? I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, he does stadium trucks whenever he can. He's like kind of one of the regulars.
Yeah, he's one of those semi-right, like Biffle and Mears do as well.
Yeah, I like how Biffle's been getting more and more into him. He wasn't there this year, but he was last year.
This
And
looks like so much fun.
What a mad lad.
Natalie Decker was there.
Oh yeah, yeah. She started the like Trans Am thing race you had going on.
Yeah, she was in the
Completed one
Trans Am series, the mixed class for the SCCA. And yeah, we were hanging out. For then, we were making our way down through the kink, and we were kind of walking the trail from the kink to Canada corner. And when the race started, we saw her come through for the pace lap, and I was like, "Oh, there's Natalie." And then never saw her the rest of the race, so I was kind of wondering what happened. Then I found the results, and turned out she completed 1 lap and finished dead last in the race.
What happened?
I don't know. It doesn't say. It's not like Racing Reference where it says like what happened, why they retired. It just shows that she completed 1 lap and finished last. I'm assuming some sort of mechanical issue. Or
Starting park.
I was gonna say maybe that's the Trans Am version of a starting park.
Money shifted it.
But yeah. I saw her. I saw that she was in the Trans Am thing because I saw that N29 car. I was like, holy crap! I didn't even realize she was racing this year. And then I looked up like the entry list. I was like, oh damn, she is. Then the people that we were camping next to, I felt kind of bad because I was explaining to my buddy who doesn't know like a huge amount about racing. I was explaining to him her very interesting weekend last week at Bristol, to say the least, and then the subsequent team audio that got leaked.
Yeah.
So I was explaining that whole thing and like explaining the video and showed it to him. Then I felt bad because afterwards the lady that was camping in the spot next to us, she's apparently a Natalie Decker fan, and she was there rooting for her.
Oh. Decker.
And I didn't even know that she's from Wisconsin, so that kind of makes sense why she was racing there.
I didn't know that.
I was looking for the
damn.
for the reason why she DNF'd, and I found she's from Wisconsin.
Is that the reason?
Yeah,
that's the reason
she
why she
DNF'd because
DNF'd.
she's from Wisconsin.
So how was the Xfinity race, the main show?
Awesome. Yeah, it was
Where were you for
for
that?
the start, all over the place. For the start, we hung out in turn 1 for the first like 5 laps or so. Should say it was just me because my friend, like 20 minutes before the start of the race, he was gonna go to get something at the concession stand that was literally 20 seconds away from our grandstands. Then turned out, oh, I need to go find an ATM. I'll be right back.
Oh.
We were in turn 1. He basically wandered down like all the way to the end of the paddock area, which is like close to turn 14. So he basically inadvertently wandered the entire length of the front stretch of a 4-mile-long road course.
God almighty.
So needless to say, he missed the first few laps of the race.
Yeah, cash is a racetrack essential.
I tried to explain that to him.
Are they going to say the concession line was bad? And I would be like, oh no, not again.
No, the concessions were great. In contrast to Bristol, where you had to wait 10 minutes per person for a bottle of water. I mean, there were buildings all over the track. Like every 2 turns, there was a different building with bathrooms, showers for the campsites, and
Yeah, same with CTMP.
the facilities were all great. The burger buns were a little dry. That's my only complaint. But just throw some ketchup
Here
on
in
it.
Road
You're fine.
America. More moist buns, come on.
Yeah, we hung out
Moist.
turn 1 for the first few laps, and then we kind of started to wander our way back to the carousel. We went
Saw some turn
down
5.
the straightaway between turn 3 and 5 by that Sargento Bridge.
Oh, yeah.
Then we crossed the bridge back to the carousel. Then we hung out and watched the race from our campsite, like inside the carousel, for a little bit, just past the Speedville Bridge. Then for the last like 20 laps or so, we went over by Hurry Downs between turns 7 and 8. There's this amazing huge hill with all these like wooden bleachers like built into the hill.
Oh.
And you can see perfectly turn 6, turn 7, and turn 8, and then them going into the carousel.
That's cool.
Then there's a big video board right in front of us there, so we watched the rest of the race from there. It's kind of exciting with all those restarts at the end.
Yeah.
Had a little bit of drama. Didn't know if De Benedetto was going to win, if Allmendinger was going to get another shot after he went down, but yeah, he got wrecked in that like final restart.
Yep.
A lot of the people in the crowd were rooting for Allmendinger. There's a lot of people that were rooting for De Benedetto.
People champ.
Yeah, it's
He is the people's champ.
and Christopher Bell further cementing why he deserves to be in the Cup Series.
He'll be in there next year. He'll probably be in De Benedetto's seat.
Yeah.
It was cool seeing. I believe it's been a new winner every single year for the last like 10 years. They've been racing Xfinity
My
at Road
God.
America. There hasn't been a repeat winner once, I don't think. I was kind of rooting for De Benedetto the whole race.
Well, he came close, and then he biffed
He had a
it.
chance, and then yeah, dude, his explanation of him biffing that last turn sounds like something I would have done in Knockouts. It's like, yeah, I was staring at my rearview mirror checking out third place, then I didn't see turn 14 coming up in front of me. I went too wide, got in the gravel, and spun out.
Cindric hit the intimidator button.
Dude, Cindric, yeah, coming up one position short of making it 3 road course wins in a row. I was kind of rooting for him for that reason.
Yeah, that call to pit was always going to be risky, and it was sort of banking on whether there was going to be overtime and there wasn't another caution. But he came pretty damn close nonetheless.
Tyler Reddick, last week's winner with a
No,
podium
like,
finish,
when
top 3.
When he made that call to pit, or his crew chief did, I was like, that is the stupidest call I've ever heard in my life. He's running like 3rd or 4th, and you're going to change tires because you got that extra set.
Yeah.
He had to do it, though.
Restarted like 20th, and I was like, well, he's done. And then he just like marches his way up through the field. He had some help with Allmendinger getting into
And
trouble.
the second
like
bit of chaos, too.
Yeah, and then De Benedetto wrecking in front of him. He got that second place finish, but I thought at the time, I was like, that is the stupidest call I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah, I was wondering why he went to the back of the field randomly in the middle of the race.
It made sense because, like, Bell and Allmendinger were both pulling away from him on the long run, and the just generally were faster than him. Maybe it was either like send it up the inside in turn 1 or pull a gamble like that.
Noah Gragson came away with the top 5.
Solid top 5 by Noah.
Yeah, because he wrecked Allmendinger. that's why.
I thought Chase Briscoe wrecked Allmendinger.
No, it was Gregson.
Oh, okay, never mind.
It started off kind of as a racing deal, then Noah kind of finished it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, how about our NASCAR YouTube buddy Ryan Vargas, his second ever Xfinity star, coming away with top 20.
Hell yeah.
Coming away in the top half of the field, keeping the car clean and finishing in the top position of his team.
Yeah, I dipped in like the last 20 laps, and he was running on the lead lap in 25th and ended up, just staying out of trouble, dodged all those big wrecks, and came away with 18th place finish, I think it was.
Yeah, finished ahead of guys like Joey Gase, Greg Galding, De Benedetto, John Hunter Nemechek, AJ Allmendinger.
Yeah. Not bad.
Not too shabby for your second ever Xfinity start.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him doing some more stuff for JD Motorsports.
Yeah, I saw the when they did the hauler parade the first day, I saw that hauler pull up the number 4. It said Ross Chastain. It's like, hey, there's the watermelon guy. I didn't realize, oh yeah, Ross is up in Canada this weekend running the trucks. He's got a replacement driver for the number 4 this year. And then it took me to like Friday to remember, oh yeah, shoot, it's Ryan running the number 4 this weekend. Duh.
Yeah. Ross did pretty well in the first stage and then kind of fell off later on. I think they made a call to pit, but I'm not entirely sure.
Sounds like the Bristol.
Yeah, I don't
race.
know what happened to him at the end of the race.
But yeah, in the first stage, he worked his way up to second place. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, all in all.
I got a dip. I got work tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for
Thanks
hanging
for
out.
being part of
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for being a part of the Outlap.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I literally just dipped into the not podcast channel just to shoot the breeze, and everybody's like, "We're doing podcasts. You want to be on?" And I was like, "Sure."
We're happy to have you on, man.
Thanks for tuning in.
Always happy to be here. I'll catch you guys later.
Yeah,
Later,
take
buddy.
care.
See ya. So yeah, all in all, great weekend at Road America.
Awesome. While you guys were at tracks, I didn't do anything racing related except watch. Rusty, however,
Huh?
you got your diecast in the mail, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Saw your unbox video.
Yeah,
top
I mean, I
5.
kind of just do that just for fun because I know there's some followers that just are obsessed with diecast. But Plan B sales kind of called my bluff, as I like to say, because I was looking at pre-ordering Noah Gregson's car, but I didn't trust them with the paint on the standard, and I'm glad I got the chrome because in person that chrome car is it might be one of my favorite NASCAR purchases of all time. Like just the whole Noah Gregson meme aside, that car just looks incredible, and I'm happy I got it, and I try to kind of share that moment with everyone.
I dislike Gregson a lot, but I respect that as a really nice pace game. So what's
He
the
has your
difference?
top
I
5.
wanted to ask you what the difference between the chrome color and the regular is. I thought that I don't quite follow that.
It's shiny.
I'm sure there's an expert that can tell you the huge difference, but the color chrome just literally looks like in person. It looks almost like not like a mirror reflection, but it's very, very, very. It's chrome, but it's
It's the NASCAR diecast equivalent of holographic Pokemon cards.
so it's just
a way of putting it.
That's a really good way to put that.
Yeah, you kind of pay a little premium price to upgrade the paint finish on it, so it's not like the same price as the standard. So,
Gotcha.
but like the standard paint kind of had a little bit of that, like I don't even know what you call this, like kind of the I guess most of the Hendrick cars and some of the JRM do too, with that kind of speckle. I don't even know what you call that, the
Metallic
in the
flakes.
paint. Yeah, like a little metallic in it. So I did appreciate that on the standard paint, but the gray itself on the standard was too light. It was too it just wasn't the right darkness of gray. So plus and minus on the whole purchase. So, but I it's on my desk at work and I'm obsessed with it. I love it.
Mr. Top 5.
Yeah, at work I've got the Darlington finish from 2003. So the Craven and Busch cars. I've got last year's championship Moffitt trucks. I thought last year's story with Moffitt was awesome. And then I picked up that Xfinity first win for Ross Chastain. So I got kind of a cool collection of
Nice.
cars at my desk.
That's sweet.
Just some good memories.
Oh yeah, one last thing about Road America I wanted to mention that I forgot.
Please.
So in an otherwise really clean weekend, there weren't really any wrecks or pileups. There were a couple spins here and there, a couple minor incidents, but in an otherwise clean weekend, can we talk about the fact that Brandon Jones wrecked like 3 separate times? Once in practice and then twice during the race. And each time I saw that wrecked car, I just kept thinking of Ed's quote. Imagine spending money.
Imagine spending
Yeah,
money so Brandon Jones can race.
Well,
That just
isn't
kept
that
coming
why
to mind.
Christopher Bell has a ride? Is because of him? Is that the rumor?
I have no
What do you
idea.
mean? He's got that Ream money.
I thought that was from Brandon Jones.
Is it?
That's the rumor I
Oh,
heard.
that makes sense because
I thought
Ream is one of
Christopher
those
Bell has a-
Menards things, isn't it?
I thought Christopher Bell has a ride because he's the most talented up-and-coming driver in like the last decade.
Yeah.
well, he is, but I mean, to get that Gibbs seat, I think was part of it.
Yeah. All right. Good job, Brandon Jones.
Good scout, not so great driver. Yeah, he biffed it like 3 separate times.
What was it like
I
seeing...
remember I was
Sorry, go ahead.
it was that second to last caution, I think, where he crashed and he just had that. I think he crashed in turn 5. I was staring at the video board. I was like, "Oh, looks like we have a caution." And then I didn't realize he was like rolling right by with his like smashed up car. And I just panned down from the video board. You see him rolling by and just limping.
What was it like
Or Brandon
seeing
Jones.
the lower forms of motorsport that weekend?
I love it.
It's something that, like, I feel like a lot of armchair fans will just sit there and talk like lower about, Formula 2 and Formula 3 and Formula Renault and like trucks,
lights.
dirt, Indy
Dude.
lights, stuff like that. But when you get there in person
Yeah.
and you see the show that each individual thing puts on, it's really easy to get into it.
One of the coolest things at CTMP is the Nissan Micra Cup. When they literally
what now?
literally take here, let me get a photo of this on the screen. It's they take like tiny Nissan commuter cars.
Uh-oh.
Like these
Yeah, that was the first time I've seen this. I liked it.
these dinky little hatchbacks. They literally put some slicks on them, put a roll cage in it, and pull the interior out, and like a racing seat, and they go racing.
All right,
That's
so
awesome.
follow-up question to this.
Yeah.
How do we get an Outlap race of us in these cars?
Yes.
It's like 50 grand for a race car.
What?
Okay, well, can we rent the cars? Like, do they have like a Nissan Micra experience, and then we can all just race the crap out of it? That looks like so much fun,
Dude,
Yeah,
the
I-
racing is amazing because there's no power. They're front wheel drive. They have these tiny little tires. They are throughout the entirety of the race, the top two were like almost touching bumpers through the entire lap. And you get so much time to draft on the long straightaway too. Like it just closes everything up. I got to watch it from the outside of turn 2, and it was amazing because they're so small and the tires are tiny. They slide through the turn a little bit, and they're like constantly correcting the car as they go down the hill and around the corner. And
You'd televise those things.
seriously, and they get these little packs of cars together because they'll like draft up on the straightaway and close in. You'll get like 4 cars in a group together going side by side. And the only sad part is like, especially at turn 2, there were a couple of crashes where they lose the back end, and it's sad because it's like, damn, that's that guy's car. Yeah, and now they gotta fix it up. But I guess parts are cheap. I mean, literally go to a Nissan dealership and get yourself a new front clip or whatever.
Another thing that stuck out to me that I'm sure you can attest to this with a CTMP drive-through, just the elevation change in some of these turns that I've just seen in like Sims and TV and never in person. There's like 2 spots that really stuck out to me. I mean, obviously everyone knows that giant front stretch hill that goes up the pit area, and then turn 3 to turn 5 kind of goes downhill, but I never knew the start of the carousel down to the bottom of the carousel like goes significantly downhill.
Really?
Yeah, it's fairly downhill. I never realized that. And then Canada corner, like the turn 12 up to like turn 13 and 14 is like a massive uphill. I never realized that until I like saw it in person. Just crazy seeing the elevation change of these tracks in person.
And that elevation change does a lot.
Dude, I love it when racetracks play with it. I mean, like the best in the world. Spa, Monaco, you've got these huge, turns over elevation changes. CTMP does it so well too. Like turn 2 and turn 4 and turn 5, just the up and down. Oh my God. It just adds so much more, it takes so much more skill to get through the track. And creates some of these passing opportunities. One of the best parts about turn 5 is they come flying down the hill, and the braking zone is like almost straight up, so you can brake really, really late and just jump to the inside of someone there.
Although, did anyone notice that they were taking the incorrect racing line during the race? They were going
through 4
way outside in turn 5 than what they were supposed to be doing. Yeah, that was a joke, and obviously not a good one. I was referencing the jump in Heat 3 that everyone launches off.
All right, I see you.
The Rusty, that how many likes is it at? It's got to be up to like 200 by this point.
Yeah, it's made me a little uncomfortable at this point, how much traction it's gotten.
What has?
It's like I thought I was going to send it out for like my 5 Heat 3 followers, and I don't know.
255, wow.
That's new territory for me, and it's like it just really made me feel uncomfortable. It's like, all right, guys, stop it. Like, guys, stop it.
Oh, I didn't see this because I was at the track.
Yeah, so Hamlin Fanatic posted like the actual, like it was a bigger screenshot. I don't know where he got it from. So shout out to Hamlin Fanatic for the post in the Talladega infield in the Discord. So I kind of stole it from him and repurposed the tweet or the content. And
that's great.
Connected with people. I love the jump. I love it's, and apparently other people do too. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, I didn't see this. Okay. Well, that joke didn't land because I didn't understand because I was actually there. I'm sorry, Cody.
My jokes bombing.
It was cool to see, anyways. Dude, there were some trucks that were just like, they were just cruising. Like it was a Sunday drive. I don't know who was in the 32. I'm gonna look this up. But they got lapped, I think, like 3 laps into the race.
At a track that big.
At a track that big. I'm gonna look this up now.
Was Jennifer Jo Cobb in that race by any chance? Was she one of them?
No, she was only 4 laps down.
Oh.
Greg.
I remember she was just
What?
a moving chicane at Bristol. That's just
Greg
what
Rail.
I specifically remember.
Rayl. Apparently, it's his second Truck Series race this season.
Learned Norm Benning is still alive, apparently. I learned that this weekend.
Norm's out there every week.
Jesus.
Dude, Norm was only 4 laps down.
I'll be back in like a minute.
I thought he was like
Really
100 years old.
Norm Benning is currently 67.
Yeah, it's like 100 years old in racing years.
I mean, tell that to Morgan Shepherd.
He still is alive?
He's there every
Yeah.
week.
He's there every week.
Oh my god.
Canadians did pretty well this week, I gotta say. Alex Tags with the second place. Although he's driving KBM, we knew he'd be doing pretty well. He wasn't really fast enough to fight for the win, but he's still okay. Stuart Friesen, top 10. Raphael Lessard got a top 10 after that 360. Friggin' Gary Klute finished in 12th. What a guy. And DJK got dumped for 15th in the last turn. Just kind of an interesting choice by Austin Wayne Self. Usually you see that happening for the win, but for 15th place, he dumped DJK.
Well, following by his last name, it's clearly all about him. Thank you, everybody. This has been the Outlap. Please kill me.
Hey, every position matters.
Hey, thanks for making it to the end. I hope you enjoyed episode number 3 of the Outlap. Next week is a very fun one. We have a whole bunch of F1 news to talk about. Esteban Ocon's going to Renault. Hulkenberg's without a seat. Bottas got signed back. Sergio Perez got signed back. Plus, we have the Spa Belgian Grand Prix to talk about. I'm very excited to see that coming up. And we'll have discussion coming at you next week for Outlap episode number 4. Again, if you've listened on Apple Podcasts, please rate and review us. I would love to hear your feedback, and I would love for you guys to just tell the world. Obviously, we're still working to improve this show week by week, but I would love your feedback, and thank you to all of you for your fantastic comments so far. I'm really excited for what this show has become and what we can do going forward. Again, I'm DriveThrough, and I will see you all next week.